The following is a special presentation of Big Polly's World of Sports Sims, alternating the reality of sports and entertainment since 2020. Hello, everybody, and welcome to PWT All-Stars, a supercard we do every month at the end of the month here in the Professional Wrestling Tour. I'm Big Polly coming to you. We're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the New York City circuit, where WWF had many, many cards in the Spectrum, WWE nowadays. And on this 29th of January, the day of the Royal Rumble in St. Louis, available on the Peacock Network. They should pay me for advertising. We have four bouts. We have a 27-man battle royal we're about to get started with. The winner of that will be a top contender going into the month of February and will tour the circuits of the PWT, or at least a few of them. And we'll see how that goes. We have all the top contenders, all 20 of them, representing the heavyweight, junior heavyweight, and tag team divisions. And we have 7 heels from the New York City circuit to kind of balance things out. So we had 14 baby faces and 13 heels. And after that, we'll have a world tag team title bout, the Briscoe brothers. We now have Briscoe brothers and Briscoe brothers with an E in PWT, and we'll get to the PWT draft after the match. We had all 27 circuits pick an act, a tag team or a single, and they now have a little deeper roster. All 27 circuits do. So it's the Briscoe brothers with no E against the East-West connection for the World Tag Team title. Special stipulation on the bout, no time limit, because these two teams in Minneapolis went to a 60-minute draw couple of weeks ago. For the World Junior Heavyweight title, because we have Dr. Wagner Sr. in the Battle Royal you're about to see, Dr. Wagner Jr. will get a crack at Antonio Anoki's junior heavyweight title that he has held most of the month. He defeated Dr. Wagner Sr. to win the belt, I think it was January 2nd. And in our main event, Triple H will try for the world title against Dick Hutton. We had some news break. We had a couple of items of news break before the card in Philadelphia began. We now have a president of PWT, and that is George Hackenschmidt, an old early 20th century grappler, and he broke the news that John Pezic will be coming out of retirement due to a technicality in his bout with Lou Albano, not with Lou Albano, but with Dick Hutton. Lou Albano interfered. Pezic claimed that there was a conspiracy to get the title off of Pezic. So he will be reinstated and kayfabe off. We're going to use his Pioneer card from the fall 2011 roster set, which makes him a little more beatable. 2021 roster set, fall 21. This is Wrestling's Finest version 3, as you saw in the open. The brainchild of Tom Vogel. Hello, Tom, if you're watching this. And we're going to look for some Hutton versus Pezic matches to start February, because Pezic definitely has enough rankings points to qualify as a top heavyweight contender. Likely situation is our next event that will be coming to you on PWT main event will be February 3rd or thereabouts, and it will be Hutton against Pezic for the World Championship, as the top contenders will now go through a rotation. If you have a case of two good guys, the good guy will be on the undercard defending against the top heel, trying to accumulate rankings points. So when the title does change hands and you have a heel champ, then the baby faces will be ready. So here's our card. Let's go over the 27 participants. The top contenders in the heavyweight division at the start of January: Vladik Zbyszko, Stanislaus, his brother, Zbyszko, Ricky Dozan, Andre the Giant, Bronco Nagurski. Anybody who wins will automatically remain as a top contender, regardless of their rankings points. You get 20 points for winning a battle royal, no matter how many participants there are. And when you win the world title, you get 40 rankings points, but that is just a one-time deal. You don't win. You don't get 40 points every time you win the world title. It's a one-time deal. It's a status symbol, I guess you could say. In the light heavyweight division, or the junior heavyweight division, I should say, we have Dr. Wagner Jr., Jim Lundos, George Kidd, Vern Gagne, and Everett Marshall. In the tag team divisions, we have Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson of the Rock and Roll Express, Al Costello and Roy Heffernan of the Fabulous Kangaroos, Terry Funk and Dory Funk Jr., Ole and Gene Anderson. And to round out the field and make things a little bit balanced, Cola Coriani, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Randy Savage, King Kong Bundy, and Shawn Michaels, all from the New York circuit. And off we go with this 27-man over-the-top rope battle royal. We start with a couple of behemoths, King Kong and Andre, and King Kong is gone, just like that. And we're down to 26. Next battle is Wladek Zbyszko and Ray Stevens, and Wladek survives that. On to our next battle, CM Punk and Ole Anderson. Talk about a couple of men who aren't afraid to say what they need to say. And now Terry Funk trying to get Andre the Giant out. Andre was in the Battle Royal for the World Heavyweight title that was not televised. And Andre got eliminated by Jim Lundos and Ricky Dozan. They're both in this one. Shawn Michaels against Bronco Nagurski, and Michaels staying in. I just watched last night the 1992 Royal Rumble, right after Michaels had turned heel on Marty Jannetty, and he provided a point of interest. That was the one Ric Flair won, drawing number 3 and going all the way. Ricky Morton against Andre the Giant. You give me a break. You ain't going to get Andre out. Dr. Wagner and Dory Funk Jr. And now it's Macho Man Randy Savage and Dr. Wagner. Oh, yeah! I don't live too far away from where Randy Savage used to live here in Seminole. And now it's a gang up. You got Shawn Michaels facing Morton, Funk, and Andre. There goes the Heartbreak Kid. He's probably heartbroken he didn't win this. Andre and Brock. Brock survives. Roy Heffernan against George Kidd, and Ozzy against the Brit. No damage done there. Al Costello against Heffernan. The Battle of the Kangaroos. Just goes to show you anybody could win this, and kind of like the Royal Rumble, they always say it's every man for himself. So now it's Dory Funk Jr. against a good guy and a bad guy, Ray Stevens and George Kidd, and say bye-bye to the Funker, the former GSW World Champion. Al Costello against Ole. Ole survives that. So we have 3 eliminated, 24 left. Now a gang up on Costello with Dr. Wagner Jr., Pat Patterson, and Bronco Nagurski. And Costello survives. King Kong Bundy and... I'm sorry, that's not King Kong Bundy. It kind of looks like him. Cora Coriani and Bronco. Bronco survives that. Everett Marshall and Ricky Dozan, who was the godfather of Japanese wrestling, was slain in a battle with the Yakuza. And now Wladek Zbyszko facing 3 men. Off he goes. And let's just see who those 3 men are. Ray Stevens. Oh, Stanislaus! Oh, we got a little family squabble here. Stanislaus aided in helping Wladek get out, and only Anderson combined on that elimination, and that's the 4th elimination. We're down to 23. Kurt Angle surviving an elimination from Everett Marshall. So we got a family feud developing here between the Zbyszkos. Ray Stevens and Brock Lesnar. Stevens survives that. And now it's Jim Lundos facing Macho Man, and ooh yeah, it's the Savage getting rid of Lundos. And that's elimination number 5. We're down to 22. Brock Lesnar and CM Punk. And Lesnar survives that. We're 10:37 into the Battle Royal. And this is Everett Marshall and Randy Savage. Marshall survives, one of the great junior heavyweights. Probably be heading to a circuit unless he wins. Brock Lesnar survives Cola Coriani. So Cole gets help in the form of Al Costello, and there goes Brock Lesnar. And that's another elimination. That's 6 down and 21 to go. Kurt Angle and Ricky Morton. Angle survives that. It's damn true. And again, we have Heffernan and Costello going at it. Heffernan has a little help from Ray Stevens, and Costello is gone. Oh, we're developing some storylines here, I see. Costello and Heffernan. They'll say it was just business, but that really doesn't help the cause of the Kangaroos eliminating one of their own. Kidd and Ricky Morton, a couple of technical guys. Nothing happening there. It's Dr. Wagner Jr. and Pat Patterson. And Patterson survives that. Bronco's going for Andre. Can't get rid of him. Kurt Angle and Gene Anderson, a couple of bad guys, and it's Anderson gone. So we now have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down and 19 to go. Terry Funk being ganged up by Robert Gibson and Pat Patterson, and there goes the Thunker. So both Funk brothers eliminated. Robert Gibson and Cola Coriani. Coriani survives. Randy Savage and Kurt Angle. Angle stays in. We're 14:51 at the battle roll. Now we have a gang up. Gibson and Andre against Savage, and bye-bye Randy Savage. He's the latest one gone, and that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 gone and 17 to go. Stevens and Coriani. Stevens survives. Now Vern being teamed up by a couple of legends, Andre and Ricky Dozan. And Andre and Ricky Dozan, who were rivals in that battle royal for the world title, combine and get Vern out of the picture. So I think that's 11 down and 16 to go. Kurt Angle and Dr. Wagner, Sr. Nothing happening there. Stanislaus and Steven. Steven survives. Pat Patterson and Ole Anderson. Nothing happening there. Marshall and Ricky Dozan. Ricky Dozan is gone. So likely Ricky Dozan heads to Japan. Kidd and Dr. Wagner. George Kidd, Dr. Wagner, and Dr. Wagner Jr. and Dr. Wagner Sr. is gone. We'll see Dr. Wagner Jr. in our third bout of the night. Pat Patterson and Kurt Angle. Angle still in. Andre being teamed up by 3. Pat Patterson, Ole Anderson, and Kurt Angle. And Andre is gone. How about that? Which is kind of what happened to him in the Battle Royal for the world title. Jim Londos and Ricky Dozan teamed up, and Andre usually wins these Battle Royals. It's usually a license to print money when Andre is involved in them, but now we have a wide open field to determine who will be a top contender and pick up those 20 points for winning this Battle Royal. It's Stanislaus Savisco and Roy Heffernan. Heffernan gone, so the Kangaroos cannot retain top contender status. Ole Anderson and Cola Coriani. Ole is still in. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 men left. Ricky Morton and Sabisco. Ricky Morton is still in. George Kidd being ganged up by Angle and Everett Marshall. Say goodbye to George Kidd. George Kidd finished second in the Battle Royal for the world title. Gibson and Ray Stevens, a couple of tag stars. It's Stevens who is gone. And we are now down to 10 men. Robert Gibson and Kurt Angle. Gibson is still in. Marshall and Coriani. Zabisco and Morton. We're 22-33 into this battle royal, and now Stanislaus facing Angle and Coriani, and Stanislaus is gone. We're down to 9. Oh, we got a battle between the Rock and Roll Express and Ricky Morton, eliminated by Robert Gibson. So the intrigue continuing. Gibson and Angle. Gibson gone. So we're down to, 7. We're down to Bronco Nagurski, Everett Marshall, Pat Patterson, Ole Anderson, Cola Coriani, Kurt Angle, and CM Punk. Anybody could wind up winning this now. It's Angle against Anderson, and Anderson says goodbye. It's down to 6. Everett Marshall and CM Punk. Everett survives. Patterson and Everett Marshall. Marshall still in. Now a gang up on Punk with Coriani, Marshall, and Nagurski, and CM Punk. Is CM gone? We're down to 5. Now it's a gang up. Coriani and Nagurski have Everett Marshall in trouble, but he stays in. Angle, Marshall, Nagurski, and Patterson ganging up on the Olympian, and Angle is gone. We're down to 4 men. Nagurski, Marshall, Patterson, and Coriani. Coriani against Nagurski, and Coriani survives that. 25:42 gone by now. Patterson and Coriani, Patterson stays in. Oh, Nagurski in trouble as all 3 men left. Gang up on him, and it's bye-bye to Bronco. He finishes in 4th. It's Everett Marshall, Pat Patterson, and Coriani. One of these men is going to be a top contender for the heavyweight championship, at the very least. Everett survives. Coriani and Marshall. Marshall survives. It's now Patterson and Coriani. Bye-bye to Coriani. So it's Pat Patterson, who will be a top heavyweight contender on top of being a top tag team contender. If he could survive this final duel with Everett Marshall, he survives the first attempt. Now Patterson trying to get rid of Marshall. No. Marshall and Patterson. No. And Marshall tries again. No. Marshall in trouble. No. Patterson trying again on Marshall. No. Marshall on Patterson, and Marshall! Everett Marshall picks up the 20 points and will remain a contender for either the junior heavyweight title or the heavyweight title. We'll see where his point total gets him. If he's one of the top 5, then he gets an automatic spot as a heavyweight contender. But if not, he could go for the junior heavyweight title, or at least go battle some of the best contenders in PWT. So that's a surprise. Everett Marshall is your winner after a half hour's battle. And he will go on as a top contender, and he won't have to worry about where he's going to settle up, at least for now. Everett Marshall is your Battle Royal winner. And we'll take a very quick break that you won't see, and I'll be back and set up the World Tag Team title match. There you see the particulars. King Kong Bundy wound up being the first on, and Everett Marshall outlasting Pat Patterson. So we will be right back. So let's show you the results from the PWT draft that was conducted yesterday. And you see the results on the right of your screen. We had FTR, an AEW tag team, being chosen first. Detroit picked the Briscoe brothers. San Francisco went with Sailor Art Thomas. Diamond Dallas Page joins the PWT. He'll be based out of the Los Angeles circuit. Charlotte picks the Spoilers. Mid-South, very popular tag team in the 70s. They were high contenders. They were heels. Rip Hawk and Swede Hansen. Indianapolis takes Shane Douglas. Calgary, Rick Martel. AEW champ Adam Hangman Page got picked by Atlanta. Portland chose hometown son Billy Jack Haynes. South Texas took Manny Fernandez. The Harlem Heat were taken by the Great Lakes circuit, the Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo areas. Jeff Jarrett wound up in Japan. That's Jeff, Jarrett. Samoa Joe got picked by Europe. Mexico City needed a bad guy, and they got one in Ad Santel. Toronto picks JBL. Atlantic Canada, the maritime region of Canada, takes MJF of AEW, who I think has a bright future in the business. The Rockers picked by Minneapolis. The Hardy Boys picked by Central State. Lord Anderson got picked by Hawaii. Ilio DiPaolo, an interesting choice. He winds up at San Juan. Don Curtis picked by Tampa. He was a local favorite. Eddie Marlin and Tommy Gilbert were chosen by Continental. Big Boss Man for Vancouver. Ivan Putski for Montreal. The U.S. Express, the tag team of Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo, who were WWF Tag Team Champions in 1985. Picked by the New York circuit. Booker T. I know he's part of Harlem Heat, but you could have different circuits have different rights to the same talent. He gets picked by North Texas, who had the last pick. So on we go And in fact, let me just set up my little notepad here, which I take note on the matches, and put them on the Wrestling's Finest Delphi board. Just look that up on Google, and you'll find the board, and you'll see all the action that occurs during the month in PWT. The Briscoe brothers, Jack and Jerry, against the East-West Connection, Adrian Adonis and Jesse the Body Ventura. This is a no time limit match, so that is your stipulation. And the Briscoe brothers recently said they will take on all comers for the World Tag Team titles. Good teams, bad teams, it don't matter, because they could face them all. They were heels in Mid Atlantic in 1983, and they were probably even better as heels in their feud with Rick Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. And off we go with this world title match. The Briscoes winning the title off of Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens early in January, and they've been defending it ever since. They come in 5-0-3, and the East-West Connection so far in PWT have just that one draw against the champs. And a forearm by the Connection gets us started. Double team countered by the Briscoes, a suplex attempt, and that takes 11 off of the damage score for the East-West Connection. Out of control loss. No action. Briscoe brothers unleash a barrage of punches outside the ring. That's 15 more points off of Adonis and Ventura. Double team attempt scores. And this time it was prevented. Kick by, I'll say, Adonis. Oh, I forgot to set the computer for one of these teams. We'll just go punches. So I'm going to have to use strategy cards. I'm going to play a card and go for a specialty hold. Try to get him out right here. Double team attempt. Illegal choking. Illegal low blow. And that's not going to score a submission, so we ignore it. Headlock by the Briscoes. Okay. Place of a successful hold. Leave the ring. Gain 10 stamina. Well, I don't want to use strategy cards until I have a lead in strategy cards. They each have 5. Double team attempt. The Briscoes knocking off another 15 off the total. They are leading in terms of damage by 51 points. Submission move, no. Double team attempt by the East-West Connection, and that evens things up quite dramatically. Auto control loss. And I'm sure some of you remember the Rampage wrestling game that Lance Hafner had back in the 90s. And that's what, when I played that, and I used to have that. In fact, I still have this on my new updated computer that I got a couple of years ago. I would always use stars when I had the advantage. I would never use stars when it was even. You just gotta wait for the right minute, and that's kind of my strategy here. Arm hold. I usually let the computer play both teams, but sometimes I make mistakes, just like I made with this bout. Double team attempt does not score. Kick by the East-West Connection, and it's a nip and tuck bout. Double team attempt by Adonis and Ventura. Another double team attempt, and now the Briscoes have taken more damage. Another double team attempt successful. They are 4 for 6 in double teams so far in this bout. Legal leg drop by the Briscoes, and they are still trailing. Illegal punches. See, they could cheat a little bit too. And a huge double team attempt scores, and it's 35 points off the East-West Connections damage score, and we're 7-18 into this bout. No action. No action. Illegal chop by the East-Westers. And an illegal low blow by the Briscoes. And submission move will not score. I think the East-West Connection have already lost some stamina. Because their pin rating has gone up. Figure 4 leg lock. And I'm going to call for a tag team partner to help. And yeah, but I lose the strategy card that way. Briscoe brothers have control. East-West connection. Yeah, well, that's not going to score a submission. The sleeper hold. Double team sleeper. Double team attempt. But now the Briscoes have gained the upper hand. They are up now about 78 points. Power move by the East-Westers. Briscoes looking to retain their titles and go into February, touring the world as the tag team champions. Another double team attempt successful. Okay, possible disqualification event. Use strategy card to nullify. I will. And we're even at 3-3 on the strategy cards remaining. Illegal punches by East-West and a double team attempt and a big one, 30 points. Even good with the double teaming. They're 6 out of 10. Body slam. Save Ventura did that. And another big double team. So they're on a roll with the double teaming. You may try an illegal pin attempt after a throat shot. Well, why not? Got to cheat for your heat if you're a heel. They didn't get it. It was 38-31 too, so the odds were not all that great. Double team attempt by the East-West fails. Leg hold by the Briscoes. And a supplé attempt. Some of you know that Jerry Briscoe for the purposes of this, has a podcast with JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield. It's called Stories. It runs twice a week and it's very, very good. They just had Harvey Whippleman on. It was a very, very good podcast. Double team attempt by the Briscoes and a legal forearm. That does not result in a pin. We are now 14:55. A lot of action in this bout already. Supplé attempt scores, but no action, so it goes back to the East-West. No connection. No action, I mean. Headlock countered, back to the East-West. A low blow. They've only scored one pin attempt, and so has the Briscoes only scored one. Legal elbow by East-West, and a double team attempt foiled. Auto control loss, no action. Legal neck hold, and that scores 4 points off of the Briscoes. We're about dead even again, about a 10-point difference in damage. East-West with a double team attempt, and that puts them in the lead in terms of damage. They're 5 points better off than the Briscoes. Body slam, no pin. That was the second pin attempt they have had. Auto control loss. And we had something happen. Let's see. Briscoe brothers deliver a specialty move that leaves East-West connection decimated outside the ring. They win by countout. Time of the fall was 18:37. It was a tight bout all the way through, but the Briscoes are going to advance with the countout win. And they keep their titles. The time of the fall was 18:37. And they got a 3-star rating, which will help the New York office out a little bit. They'll gain some points for trading points for that. And we're going to take a little break and head off to our junior heavyweight title match, which is going to be Dr. Wagner Jr. challenging Antonio Anoki for the World Junior Heavyweight Championship. And here we go with bout number 3. Antonio Anoki defending the junior heavyweight crown against the son of the man he took the title off of, Dr. Wagner Jr. This for the World Junior Heavyweight title. This will be a one-fall, 60-minute time limit bout. So Wagner Jr. has 60 minutes to score a pinfall or a submission without any other result occurring. Anoki has been undefeated in PWT. He has made 9 wins, no losses. He won the title over Dr. Wagner, and I think it was Toronto on day 2 of January 2nd. And he's made 8 successful title defenses. Most recent 4 were AJ Styles, Danny McShane, Roddy Piper, and Ultimo Guerrero in Mexico City. Dr. Wagner Jr. lost to Vern Gagne by countout. That was his only result of the month. And off we go with this bout. See the tail of the tape there. Anoki an overwhelming favorite. Submission move, but that's not going to score the pin on Anoki. Pin hold, and the pin hold. I was just walking around right before this, so I'm a little short of breath, but I'll be fine. Auto control loss, illegal forearm by the challenger. Had very low odds of getting the pin, especially this early. And Anoki kicks out. Submission move, that's not going to get the submission though, so we ignore it. Legal elbow by Dr. Wagner Jr. And the challenger with a diving splash, but that was countered. Biting by Anoki. Anoki has been harassed in some of his title defenses by both Dr. Wagner and Dr. Wagner Jr., so there's no love lost between these two. Arm hold used by Anoki, speed move countered by Wagner Jr., so it's back to Anoki who's using arm holds outside the ring again. Legal elbow by Anoki, standing elbow smash, a kick, and a legal elbow. He's trying to put Dr. Wagner Jr. away, and speak of the devil, he has done so. So that took 5 minutes and 46 seconds. A very easy title defense for Antonio Anoki, the man who once faced Muhammad Ali. Dr. Wagner Jr. will have to go back to the drawing board. He ends January at 0-2. So we'll take a pause and set up our World Championship match. As Mark Henry would say on AEW Rampage, it's time for the main event. And tonight we have Dick Hutton and Triple H. Triple H trying to become PWT World Champion for the first time. Hutton, we use his Champions card because he is the PWT World Heavyweight Champ. His opposition got much tougher with the unretirement of John Pezic. And we'll probably be seeing that bout sometime during the week here on the PWT main event. But tonight, it's Hutton, it's Triple H, it's for the world title. One fall, 60-minute time limit bout. And again, H has to win the title, be a pinfall or submission, before any other result happens or before the 60-minute time limit runs out. As champ, Hutton is 1-0-1. And of course, he won the title by defeating John Pezic in the North Texas circuit of Dallas and Amarillo. And on January 1st, it was Triple H and Steve Austin going to a time limit draw. We'll look at the holds, no trades, and off we go with this main event. Hope you've been enjoying the card. I know it's rather cold or snowy in the eastern half of the United States. If you live in the south and you're going to get cold weather tonight on the 29th of January, please bring your pets in and make sure they have heat, that the house heating is available to them. And we start with Hutton getting aggressive, and it keeps Triple H off balance, and he scores the first damage of the bout. Hutton uses the cheers and the chants of the fans to go on a major offensive initiative, and Triple H losing 45 points of damage in 40 seconds. Whipped to the ropes by Hutton, that scores. Legal throw, he's trying to make quick work of Triple H, and H, with a huge strategy card advantage right now, 6-3, kicks out. Legal punches by Trips and a neck hold, and a suplex attempt, ka-chunk. And that's 10 points off of Hutton's total, trimming the lead down a little bit. No action. Back to no. It doesn't go back to Hutton. It stays Triple H. A legal knee. Pedigree, but that was countered. Forearm by Hutton scores. Hutton going for the abdominal stretch, but that cannot score a successful submission because of the 0 in the third column. So we play on. Ropes move, flying body press off the ropes, no. Legal whip to the ropes. Illegal elbow. Pile driver by Triple H, not one of his specialty moves. And Hutton kicks out of that. So it's Hutton in the lead early on, but we have a long way to go in this bout, up to 60 minutes. 6:45 gone by. Figure 4 leg lock, but that was countered. Legal chop by Hutton, no pin. We got a lot of pin attempts so far. We've already had 4, and we're not even 8 minutes into the bout. Whipped to the ropes by Hutton, followed by a legal elbow and a roll up. No pin. Legal chop by Hutton. No pin. So that's 5 pin attempts already for Hutton. And you kind of wonder if he's pushing too hard early in this bout. A kick by Trips, followed by a legal chop. Suplex attempt by Triple H. I see George Hackenschmidt sitting at ringside, closely watching this bout now that he has been revealed as the president of the Professional Wrestling Tour. Suplex attempt by Triple H. And that scores. Action happening outside the ring. A front pile driver outside the ring. And we're about even on damage now with that move. Suplex attempt. And now Triple H in the lead in terms of damage. Could we see an upset here tonight and see Triple H emerge as the World Heavyweight Champion of PWT? Suplex attempt and a legal chop. And it's a pin while the foot was on the ropes, but the referee caught it. And we play on. Spinning toe hold. That cannot score a submission, so we play on. Kick by Trips. Suplex attempt countered. Whipped to the ropes by Hutton, but that was also countered. So Triple H up 30 points. Eye gouge by Triple H. So that lead is expanding. And illegal punches. Nice if you can get away with it. High knee lift was countered by Hutton. Hutton now on the offensive. A speed move. Tries to quicken the pace of the bout, but does not result in a pin. We have had 5 pin attempts by Hutton, 1 by Triple H. And we're 15:51 into this battle now. Legal forearm by Hutton, followed by an arm hold. Submission move was countered. Legal punches countered by Hutton. Hutton with the suplex attempt, and it scores 10 points of stamina. Full Nelson. Didn't really get it cinched in on Hutton. He was able to get to the ropes, but it did do a little damage. No action. Arm hold by Hutton. No action. Auto control loss for Triple H. No action. Auto control loss. And these two going back and forth trying to find an opening. They're outside the ring, and Triple H scoring some Sunday punches. And that's 15 more points off of Dick Hutton's score. Suplex attempt countered as we go past the 20-minute mark now. Strategy card used, countered by Triple H. Could this be his lucky night? Legal chop by Hutton. Not to be that time. That's his 6th pin attempt without success. Hutton with the abdominal stretch. And Triple H is feeling it. He's feeling those abdominal muscles burning. Got a chance to score a submission here, but no. Triple H finds the ropes, and the referee calls for the break. We're 21:42 into this bout now. Suplex attempt countered by Triple H. And a cheap shot by Triple H, but you would expect that from him. A reduction of stamina by 5 points. Legal throw by Hutton. Very low chance of getting the pin there. So we play on. Legal forearm by Hutton, followed by another. Auto control loss back to Triple H, who tried to get an initiative but could not. No action. Auto control loss. So these two jostling for position again, and Triple H lands the eye gouge. And that's 4 points off of Hutton's stamina. So it's dead even at this point, only a 5-point difference in damage. Auto control loss. They go back and forth. Legal throw by Hutton. But again, it's a very, very close match at this point. Legal choking countered. Legal forearm countered. This is the first time these two have met in PWT, but they seem to know each other's move. They seem to know what they're thinking, what the other man is thinking at all times. Arm hold by Hutton. That's 5 points more off of Triple H's total. A side roll, and this could get it done. And what happened here? We had an ally who had been observing the match. Oh, it's John Pezic. John Pezic interfered in the bout, and Hutton and Pezic are going to meet In our next PWT main event in Montreal, and Pezic just couldn't wait to get back at Dick Hutton, the man who took the title from him. So Triple H is DQ'd for outside interference. The time was about 27:54, and it was 178 off of Hutton in terms of damage. Triple H 188. So Hutton wins by DQ, and that will set up nicely our next PWT main event, which should be taking place February 3rd if the Lord wills it and the creek doesn't rise. Hutton and Pezic, the rematch that everybody has been waiting for. And prior to the last couple of days, nobody who follows PWT was expecting. So with that, I will bid you all adieu. This has been Big Polly coming to you, wishing you all well on this cold Saturday here on the East Coast. Godspeed and God bless. We'll do it all again soon, and bye-bye for now, everybody.